My goodness, this past week was filled with grief, chaos, lies, and talkbacks. Let's get straight into it. Whew, the happy couple is slipping, and I mean big time, okay? First of all, there's no truth in between the two of them. Although Haley has no problem throwing in her cards to Bill every time she comes up on some information, Bill is still not privy to being honest about what he's doing. Haley's insecurities are completely confirmed, and the fact that he constantly gaslights Haley into thinking that she's the problem is pretty messed up, I would definitely say. And I hate that he's made me feel for her in this past week because I don't like her. Karma is real, and you decided to break up a marriage so that you can live the life that you thought you were going to get. So now you made your bed, lay in it. But Bill, my goodness. I mean, his obsession with Danny has really been a problem. Now that Danny is married to Andre, she's living rent free in that man's brain. And not just her, Andre too. Him leaving their house in the middle of the night just to confront Andre in Orphe jeans was borderline psycho. Like, you lie to your wife and you say that you have a meeting in the middle of the night, and you track down your ex-wife's husband getting dinner for your ex-wife and think that you're going to confront him and intimidate him. I mean, yeah, Bill, you got about 2 feet on Andre, but that's pretty much it, sir. Andre stood 10 toes down when he confronted him about Danny. I mean, the jabs were real. A lot of mirrors been pointing in Bill's face this past week, okay? He tried to tell Pam, Danny's best friend, that she needed to tell her that Danny was making a mistake, and Pam's response was also great. Like, she didn't listen to me when she married you. I didn't want her to marry you, bruh. So why would I tell her not to be with her new husband? Who's obviously doing more and caring more for Danny in this moment than you almost ever did in the entire time that y'all were married. Sir, you need to focus on your wife. You need to be more forthcoming with your wife, and maybe you wouldn't have those problems, right? Talking about you came home ready to get it on, but she was on ice. How could she not be on ice? You just went into the abyss and thought you was going to come back and have some cake. No, sir. She's got a brain too, unfortunately for you. The newlyweds seem to be slipping in and out of paradise, okay? It's a bit tough to watch Andre in this situation. Even though he's been going toe to toe with every Dupree family member that has crossed his path since him and Danny got back from Vegas, it seems that everyone is convinced that he's not fully sure on what he wants in his life, and he's going to eventually regret what's going on, including Danny, unfortunately. My take is that Andre does really love Danny, and there are men out there that are totally fine with living fulfilled lives with just their wife. Every time that he tells any member of the family that confronts him that he's fine with the fact that him and Danny may never have kids, that him and Danny is enough for him to be happy and fulfilled in his life, none of them believe him. And now we end the week with Danny herself asking Andre if he's really happy. If I was him at this point, I would be ready to dip. Because how much more can he say? If a man says he's fine, you have to believe him. Now, granted, that's a little tough to believe a man in Fairmont Crest at this point. Because my goodness, lying just seems to be in the water there. But he was open to marriage and kids when it was something that obviously Ashley wanted and he wanted Ashley. But now that that's not the case, I think that he's fine with not having kids. We also don't really dive into the fact that Andre has real trauma. Lest we forget, both of his parents died in a plane crash. They haven't really gone too deep into it, but we do know that that's his backstory. And he was in the crash but survived. So When he says things like time is precious and I do love you, Danny, and this is what I want and this is what I believe is amazing in life. We have to believe him, okay? Obviously he's grounded enough and lived life enough to understand that he does know what he wants. Will that change down the line? We don't know. But should he be penalized now for what may change in the future? Should Danny tell Andre about the kiss that her and Bill shared? Absolutely. Absolutely. Why would she not? Here she is in this relationship with Andre, and they're constantly talking about the fact that their relationship is different because they are fully honest with each other and they make sure that they hear each other out without any judgment. So for her to share that kiss with Bill and not tell Andre, it's going to be a problem. Not even the fact that they kissed, but the fact that she felt like she couldn't tell him. Okay? He has been completely transparent with every obstacle that he's gone through with Ashley. And although I didn't like the back and forth that he was doing with Ashley and Danny, I did commend him for being honest in the situation. And now we have Danny that can't even do the same thing. Here you are telling him that, oh, I want this marriage to be different. We should have an open marriage. Okay, okay. You threw out the word open marriage to excuse you for what you want to do with Bill. But does that really excuse Andre for what he wants to do with any other woman? It's easy to say that now because he's constantly saying that all I want is you. But when another woman comes along, a younger woman that wants to have a traditional marriage, have kids, maybe another Ashley, but with a little more flair, how would you feel about that, Danny? I think that she is loving their arrangement right now because it works for her. She's able to explore the relationship that she still has with Bill, the feelings that she still has with Bill, while still eating her cake with Andre. And as long as Andre is fully fine with that, I don't see a problem with it. But you have to be fully transparent with him. Was I the only one that noticed all of the projecting that was happening from Jacob to Andre in that clubhouse lobby? Whoa, Jacob. We know that you're going through what you're going through, but you telling Andre that you don't know if your feelings are going to change, you might feel this way now, but you never know. It sounds like projecting, bro. It sounds like how you feel about Naomi being pregnant right now and not wanting to have this child still. And although you were cool with it in theory, now that we're actually here, you're feeling some type of way. You want those kids. And the reality is, that's not how every man feels. Andre can very much be okay with never having kids and that be his truth, regardless of anything that changes around him. And your security for Danny is valid. I do appreciate him standing up for his, mother in law and making sure that she's good. But now that it's established that her and Andre are on the same page, you got to go deal with your own stuff, Jacob. Leave them alone. Because constantly coming after Andre is messed up. And I really do hope that every Dupree and Richardson and, every other component of the Dupree family tree can actually find a way to accept Andre in this role that he has with Danny and move forward outside of animosity, because this is Andre's only family. And I think Danny is not taking that into consideration either. Her family is his family, first through Ted. But Ted is his only blood family that we know of right now. And now Eva, right? And we don't really see Kat and Martin reaching out to Andre either, although they're all Richardsons, right? So it's like, I need for them to be way softer on Andre moving forward. Like, for real. He's only here because he loves Danny, like genuinely, and wants everything that Danny wants. And he thinks that he's doing what's best for Danny. And you can't tell him or Danny any different right now. So hopefully they all find a way to accept him in this role so that he doesn't become ostracized. Because when he told Danny that he doesn't want to turn out like Bill, that was real. Although I don't think that he would do wrong to Danny, but the ostracizing and the neglect that the Duprees have done to Bill and Ted scares Andre to death. So hopefully that's not what happens with him. The back and forth in my comments about these two has been real. Okay. Obviously, everyone kind of has their own side and perspective when it comes to what they should do with the incoming baby that's happening right now. I still stand on what I said last week. Okay. If Naomi does not want to have kids, she does not want to have kids. Just because she's married does not change that. Okay. When you get married, that doesn't mean that you are obligated to have children. That's not what that means. Okay. Marriage is simply a full merging of two beings amongst God and whatever state you decided to sign that paper in. If you decide to have kids from that, amazing. That's beautiful. That's amazing. You guys can do that. You're married, you have an established relationship. Yes, be fruitful and multiply. But if that is not the goal, your marriage is still valid. So for y'all that's like, oh, well, why did she get married in the first place? Huh? You gotta want to have kids to get married? That's wild. If they decide to get a divorce over this, I'm gonna have to be okay with it. And so are y'all. They're both still very young. But Naomi has already made it very clear what she wants. Everyone is coming at Andre and making it seem like Andre needs to figure out what he wants in his life. But when Naomi says what she wants in her life, now it's a question. It's a, are you sure you need to rethink? Da, da, da. No. Sis does not want kids. She wants to change the world. You can't do both. In a lot of cases, you can't do both, especially when you got a lawyer and a police officer. Both of their jobs and careers are so demanding that neither one of them are ever home. They probably see each other at the weirdest times of the day. You think that's going to work out with a kid? The thing that I do love about Jacob is that he obviously loves Naomi and he's going to make it work. But the last conversation that they've had, I'm still a little skeptical. And I am glad that they're keeping it between them because the moment that she brings up that she's pregnant to anyone else, they're going to put in their 2 cents and it's going to make the decision even harder. I'm so happy for these two. I'm glad that they're finally back on the same page. Watching them reconnect was just so beautiful. I was happy that they were able to really communicate. Thank goodness that Smitty did not ride his Boy Scout horse to the house when Martin came to talk to him, because letting Martin go through with outing himself to the police about what happened with him and Vernon, those few years ago, would have helped nothing. Okay. I understand bearing your soul, falling on the sword, being the hero, blah, blah, blah. That time is past, Martin. Okay. We don't need you in jail. That's not going to help anybody. Right. So thankfully, Smitty was able to talk him out of it. Unfortunately, he already texted Jacob, and we all know Jacob don't let anything go. Okay, Jacob doesn't let anything go. So is that going to come back up when he sees Martin? Probably, but hopefully Martin is in bliss and just completely disregards bringing that back up because there's no need. Okay, we're done with that storyline. Let's just be done with it. Now, Nicole, I was down for the cute banter in the beginning when it came to Carlton, but her taking Carlton seriously, I'm not with. I'm not with it. Where are the other men in Fairmont Crest? Why do we have to recycle the same circles? Okay. I am a bit disappointed in Nicole letting Carlton take her to Doug's funeral and kissing Carlton before he left her house. Like, they're acting like they're really a thing. And I find that very weird. I find that very weird. Can you move on? Yes, Nicole, for sure. Could Carlton have been a good time that you just had a good time with and dipped? For sure. But you actually thinking that y'all may get in a relationship or even alluding to the fact that, oh, we're just getting to know each other and, it's been great so far. He's been there for me. Girl, please. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. That's what we're not doing. That's what we're not doing, girl. And Carlton, I need more backstory on him. Now that he's really trying to wiggle his way into the Duprees, we always talk about how these men want to be with the Dupree women so that they can get a come up. So what's the come up that Carlton wants? Hmm? Because he's already an established doctor, right? He's doing well with Ted in their private practice. At least that's what we know right now. So now that he's trying to get into the Dupree circle, we need to know background. Okay, where's your family from? Where your grandmama stay? Where your auntie stay? Where your cousins stay? What church you go to? We need we need more answers before we just accept him. Last week, I told y'all the apple does not fall far from the tree, and we have fully seen that this week. Okay. Eva is really on the path to becoming her mother. The way that she's gone about this whole situation with Tomas and Cat is disgusting. This is the issue that I have with Leslie and Eva. They're constantly creating these narratives to make themselves feel like they're really part of the story when they're not. Tomas asked Cat to come to lunch so that they can have a conversation. And when she declined, Eva called Tomas and said, "Hey, we need to talk." And he said, "Well, I'm already at the club. Come on." Why did you hear, "Let's have a lunch date"? Why did you hear, "Oh, I would love to talk to you, so please come and have lunch with me"? No. You were once again the second option that made yourself available when what he really wanted wasn't available. So, her showing up to the club and going in on Tomas saying that she's the better choice for him, and then laying into Kat about her being cold and entitled and snotty and all of this, it was just too much, Eva. Too much. It makes it hard for you to believe that she just genuinely wants peace in the community, right? It makes it hard to believe that she genuinely wants to be a family within the Richardsons because you're still somewhat using the entitlement that Kat believes that she has as well with Tomas. Just because you and Tomas understand each other a little more on a basic level does not mean that you're better for him romantically. And the fact that you're disregarding everything that's coming out of his mouth, every chance that he gets, he's defending Kat. So what's the point, Eva? Oh, right. You have your mother in your ear that's convinced that you and Tomas are a mini her and Ted. Is that not information enough to completely leave Tomas alone? Telling Eva to sleep with Tomas, showing up to the law office to talk to Tomas to tell him that he needs to be with Eva, constantly stalking Ted, staying in the hotel room completely under Ted, in the same hotel, just directly under him, constantly saying that once this divorce is done, Ted is going to come to her. All of these delusional acts that Leslie has done nothing but hurt Eva. And yet Eva still has this allegiance to her. I know that's your mother for now. For now, because we still haven't confirmed whether she is her biological mother or not. Like, for real, I need paperwork. I need DNA tests on everybody. Okay. But this level of loyalty is still detrimental to Eva. But at the end of the day, Leslie is having too much fun thinking that Eva and Tomas are baby her and Ted. And for her to want her daughter to be living the same life that she is, constantly pining over a man that doesn't even want her, it's pretty messed up. And it shows how sick Leslie really is. So hopefully Eva evolves and grows and does better than what Leslie is planting in her ear. But honestly, who knows? Doug's funeral happened this past week, and this is everyone that's involved in his case, right? Young Donnell goes to Jacob and asks Jacob if he can tell him what he knows about Doug's case, right? Donnell asking all of these questions has led to a lot of mischief amongst the people that's playing a role in Doug's process, right? Okay. We got Jacob. Jacob is the only one that's clear of any real crimes in this whole thing, right? Jacob is just trying to figure out the truth, just like Donnell. But then you have Joey that volunteers the security footage of Doug at the last table that he was at in his casino gambling before he leaves, right? He takes out Malone, police officer Malone, who was in there with him. Okay, he takes Malone completely out of the video. Why, you ask? Honestly, I'm not fully sure. I believe that it was simply another move to keep Joey out of the limelight and to plant seeds of incrimination with Malone if something goes left, right? Because one, now Malone owes Joey because he saved him, right? If Jacob would have gotten that raw footage, he would have seen that Malone was there with Doug and was the last person to see Doug before he got in that car. And it would have been a lot more blow up questions and things. So him taking Malone out of the video helped from implicating Malone in that process with Doug, but it also indebts Malone to Joey because now that's a weapon that Joey can use against him if it ever comes up again, right? So that's why Malone's not happy with it. He's like, he didn't save me to do a good deed. He knows that there's more coming from this. And the fact that he can't leave on his little boat, he's sad. But you do the crimes, you still got time to pay for sure. Randy going back to Joey and buying his way back into the game is a smart move for him because being on the run after Doug is now gone just makes no sense. Okay. And that also leads me to the fact that Randy has other reasons to stay in Fairmont Crest, not just to get back on Joey's side. So that may lead to the storyline of him and Haley again, hopefully explaining what their actual relationship is to each other. But I digress. Donnell is asking a lot of questions, including what's going on between Vanessa and Joey, right? He's not dumb. When Donnell and Jacob found Vanessa and Joey in, what was that, Uptown? Yeah, when they went to Uptown after that night of Donnell wanting to constantly see the footage and constantly asking questions about Doug, once they all get to Uptown and they see Vanessa and Joey together, you can see the suspicion in their face. And even when Vanessa tries to calm the situation and says, like, oh, Joey's just being here for me, but we're only business partners, blah, 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 Donnell might accept it a little bit, but Jacob definitely doesn't. Okay. So I need Vanessa to tread very lightly moving forward, but you know she won't. Well, despite any of our objections and any of her family's objections as well, especially Chelsea's, these two are officially in love. They've said it to each other and they've even done the deed in a public private place. I'll give it to you, okay? I understand love being the missing piece that Kat was not feeling when it came to them physically, especially the fact that Tomas is her first. We have to remember this, right? So this is Kat's first love, Kat first everything, her everything, right? So yes, it's going to take a lot for her to get separated from Tomas. Did I think that Tomas sleeping with Eva was going to be enough? Yes. Yes, that's your half sister. And no matter how crazy she talks out the side of her neck about you, Tomas was completely in the wrong for getting with her and still is. And the fact that he's still trying to cultivate a friendship with Eva shows that he still doesn't believe that what he did was fully wrong, which is a problem and will lead to that being an issue again. I do believe that Eva's not just going to roll over. She's completely vindicated now from what Leslie has been telling her. So we'll see her pop up in this situation again. But as of now, these two are in love. Thankfully, they finally said it to each other. So hopefully they're both on the straight and narrow moving forward. But who knows? Who knows? I don't trust him at all. I don't trust him at all. But I am glad that he confronted Haley about using him to get back at Bill in that moment because it was messed up. And even her being like, it wasn't that big a deal. It's not going to happen again. Like, girl, once again, you are immature, selfish, and stupid, thinking that that was going to work at all. And just because Bill understood that it was a joke, that's not a joke for Tomas. You're once again messing with someone else's livelihood and you don't care because it's a joke to you. Almost everything is a joke to her until it comes for Bill to be around Danny. Now it's not a joke anymore. Now she want to kick and scream. So, yeah, whatever. I was completely over it when Vernon opened the door and it was Leslie sauteing herself into the Grand's house once again with some unwanted gifts. Leslie just completely has imposed on the Grands constantly since she came into that money. But I do love that the Grands are starting to become immune to her antics, but also starting to play the game a little bit. The way that they got in her head about, oh, well, how's your contractor? Did you ask the right questions? Do you have the right people that are working for you? I'm sure that it's a lot going on right now. And she's just like, yeah, I got it. Yeah, she left that house shook because she knows that she's in over her head. Just because you have the money doesn't mean that you got the stature, boo boo. You don't know what you're doing. And of course, the people in Fairmont Crest would have been happy to help guide her through this process if you were nice, if you had real friends, if you were moving into this house for good standards, good reason. But everyone knows that you're only doing all of this to get at the Grands. So no one is going to help you. So it was definitely a bit vindicating watching the Grands play with Leslie's mind a bit. And I hope that they stay on that level. We definitely had some movement this week, and I'm excited to see what developments happen next week. Hit me in the comments. Let me know how you feel about everything that's happened this week. And we will meet here every week beyond the gates.